TV3 Ghana on Facebook tonight. Ghana Police Service interdicts 8 officers following a shooting incident at Sariano in the Jaboso district of the Western North region, which has left at least 2 people dead and 3 others injured. Now, this is a story that has been unfolding since morning. We're keeping an eye on this particular, and the latest development is that 8 police officers have been interdicted. But we have a conversation on this because there's a protest that took place earlier today, and the youth there are still not happy. Minister of the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has revealed at least 1,300 applicants into the security services were disqualified after testing positive for HIV, and also some 6,000 being also detected for the use of illicit drugs. They were disqualified for the use of illicit drugs. Stay with us. We've got details for you on this particular development. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, is warning of an emerging model kill criminal network driving trafficking and financial fraud across West Africa. Stay with us. We have a conversation with the legal officer at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, tonight. Also, much later, Council of State is advising Parliament to stop the consideration and passage of the law seeking to remove the current constitutional restrictions imposed on dual citizens. And we'll have a conversation on this tonight. As always, you're an integral part of it. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak, says preliminary investigations into the methamphetamine shipment intercepted in Australia have implicated some government officials suspected of aiding the consumption and movement of the illicit drugs. Speaking before Parliament's Committee on Assurances, he revealed that the findings suggest possible internal collusion, with some officials allegedly manipulating security systems at Ghana's entry and exit points.
In Tema, we have what we call the weapon detection system. It's a hand one that was delivered to us by the German government. But because it's a hand one, using it is more difficult because it uses the human discretion a lot. Our men are on the ground, like this Australian thing that you mentioned in passing. The Director General will tell you, even as of yesterday, we were still interrogating.
The Council of State has advised Parliament to stop the consideration and passage of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill, raising constitutional questions about the proposed changes in the legislation. The law is seeking to remove the current constitutional restrictions imposed on dual citizens, which prevent them from holding public positions in the country.
I received the advisory opinion of the Council of State on the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025. The bill seeks to amend provisions of the Constitution relating to citizenship-based qualifications from public office.
Cabinet is scheduled to meet on Friday to finalize the government's position paper on the constitutional review. President Mahama has announced that once Cabinet concludes its work, the Legal Counsel and the Attorney General will take approximately 1 to 2 weeks to consolidate the document. The President made the remarks at the send-off for 3 foreign envoys at the Jubilee House.
Cabinet is meeting on Friday to complete the government position paper. After that, I think the Legal Counsel and the Attorney General will take about a week or 2 to put it all together. And after that is done, will, together with the Constitutional Review Committee report and the government position paper, will hand it over to the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee to kickstart the process of the Constitutional Review. The 1992 Constitution has served us very well.
A group of Volta Aluminium Company workers has called on the government and management to consider bringing in a strategic investor. They claim this will ensure the full utilization of VALCO's potential and boost economic growth.
We are just waiting for it to be communicated publicly. We don't know whether that is how they do it, but we want everybody to know that this is what Cabinet has done for VALCO, and we are waiting for the other processes to also go on.
The other aspect is also the job security. Yes, because there's a rumor that when they come, they will sack people. We do not believe that.
I think it calls for a renewed energy towards the work, and that is going to help VALCO come back better than the VALCO that we all used to know.
Ghana Revenue Authority (GRA) has officially affirmed confiscation of entire 18-truck consignment originally falsely declared as transit cargo. This follows investigations into an attempted transit diversion scheme uncovered in February 2026. Commissioner General Anthony Kwesi Sapon confirmed the seized 39,256 jerry cans of cooking oil have been legally reallocated to support the National School Feeding Program.
You have a name in there, but no individual person has actually come forward to say, this is my consignment. So at the moment, we have to close the investigation and move on. Based on the findings, the items will be confiscated to the state. Under the direction of the Ministry of Finance, GRA is allocating the consignment to the National School Feeding Program in support of national cause.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on 3 News on YouTube. As always, brought to you by Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil Kum Tum Tum Prekon. Coming up next show on Ghana Tonight, this is a story that we've been keeping an eye on quite closely because Ghana Police Service, we understand, has interdicted some 8 officers following a shooting incident at Sariano in the Dwaboso district of the Western North region, which has left 2 people, unfortunately, dead and 3 others injured. That is the information that we had earlier today, and we've been following quite closely. And in fact, there's some disquiet in the area as a result of this particular development. Now, earlier today, the Ghana Police Service, from what we're hearing now, that's the latest development, they've interdicted 8 of their officers, that's 8 police officers, following a shooting incident at Sariano in the Dwaboso district of the Western North region that left 2 people dead and 3 others injured. The interdictions form part of ongoing investigations into the incident, which occurred earlier that's yesterday, Monday, July 7, during a confrontation between some members of the Sariano community and a police patrol team. In a release signed by DSP Humphrey Amoa, staff officer of the Western North Regional Police Command, on behalf of the head of public affairs, the police said preliminary investigations indicate that 3 people sustained gunshot wounds during the clash, 2 of whom later died. 3 others are currently receiving treatment at the Asafo Roman Catholic Hospital. Now, we have the full details of that statement, but I wanted to take a listen to this group of young people who staged a peaceful protest earlier today regarding what happened yesterday. Take a listen.
Depending in the account. Me and Sana is your mother, me know, and about because you're young tenant, I saw tears when you're young tenant. Now, you know the I confirm so much free. Me at the end, say, you're blind, you know. Police want me and say, by a munch police at idea. I'm about how the country is our tongue. Samo. I'm a more certain story in our more who be this. When we are not much in some of the neck. So I'm never going on from police can buy. Police can buy more than the shame. And I branch about go be a person on my move. It will be a person on my move to you. And I branch will be a product here. However, you need to be a fully fear of our work on the food in a training because one of the Lucas on cancer for.
Dear me, a broken kind of say, as somewhere sino, I see Cronimina, Croma, Iobia, into your per se are binding and in Crofua. Omuka be a woman, Omuka be my intinia broco quino.
A police for no, when you're more first summer, Omaba Craymo, Omodo, I have no my mob, I can't say, a more bank. Says Cano Amoa, no more do a more petrol cano, Abba, a new wiki cola, Moba, Abba Giska, Omochi or more, Omonum Nubonena, no more do Maconchain, no Makwa Giska, be 50 million, 100 million, 150, a bimpo, the Abodenuko, and Yanti, more than Nuko. Forever and ever. So numbi. A police for no mobile na. Numbi pa. Nanti so ebe chini pa yade ne kwa ncheko brunana.
Well, in fact, these are matters, in fact, that we're also getting information that the Western North Regional Police Command is looking into, especially because of the angry as to where young people and then also the residents who hit the street earlier today. The full statement, as I have it, issued by the Ghana Police Service, that's in the Western North region, earlier today. It's one that we're going to look into right now. But unfortunately, the incident, indeed, we did confirm that it's led to the death of 2 people. These are the blurred visuals of the deceased that we received earlier today. It's going to be on your screen right now. The mother of one of them wailing at this particular location. Very troubling development there. We'll take a listen to what the mother of one of the deceased said earlier today. So this is what the police statement says. It says they've restored calm and also commenced investigations into a shooting incident at Sariano in the Jaboso district of the Western North region, which resulted in the death of 2 people. Now, the statement goes on to say that preliminary investigations revealed that today, this was also that's July 7, 2026, there was a confrontation between some members of the Sariano community and a police patrol team. During that incident, 3 people sustained gunshot wounds, which resulted in the death of 2 of them, while 3 are receiving treatment at the Asafo Roman Catholic Hospital. So take into account what the residents said in the video I just played to you, and the police account as well of what led to the death of these 2 people. And then those other 3 that have sustained injuries and are receiving treatment at the Asafo Roman Catholic Clinic, that's a hospital. They say that there was a confrontation between some members of that community and the police patrol team. It was during that incident that some sustained injuries and also 2 persons confirmed dead. The third point is that all 8 officers who were involved have since been interdicted, and the Inspector General of Police has directed the Police Professional Standards Bureau to conduct a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding the incident. 4, that the command is grateful to the chiefs, community leaders, and all other stakeholders who continue to work together with the police to restore calm. The final point is that the Western North Regional Command assures the public of a thorough investigation into the incident, and any further development will be communicated. Richard Commodore is a former operative of the Bureau of National Investigations, BNI. He's a security consultant. Mr. Commodore, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First off, I want to start from the point that the police communicates the circumstances that led to the death of these 2 people and the 3 that are injured, the confrontation. The residents are also given a different account of what happened that led to the death of these 2. What should be the focus of this investigation that we understand the IGP has ordered into this matter?
The PIPS as a standard benchmark to investigate cases of misconduct and cases of accusations and all other issues relating to police officers. And the second point is that to the extent that there's a discrepancy between what the community members are saying and what the officers might have written down as the cause of death and the reasons for shooting into the crowd, it's important that the investigation is conducted. What the PIPS might be looking out for will be issues of misconduct and whether police professionalism in line with the standard guidelines and the code of ethics have been applied. Knowing very well that whatever law officers does could be litigated in court and individual families have the right to sue, it's important that police does the internal investigations for review purposes. And as a result of that, findings will be applied as quickly as possible when officers are found culpable. And you also have the police as an institution and to really understand what transpired with their officers at any point in time, because then you know why. The police is so much concerned about the communities in which they operate, and they need to build trust. They need to have the communities as the first line of intelligence gathering and many of the things they will need them for. And that is why police accountability and individual officers' responsibility and discipline is key. And when there are infractions, the best for the police to do is to investigate as the first line of contact, then the rest will be done. So I am happy they interdicted them as the first line of action. Once the investigation is done and officers are found culpable, findings will be implicated. It will be implemented in that regard.
And you talk about the fact that the first point of interdiction is one to take note of, but also in what form, and I'm asking this because you talk about the interdiction of this 8 already. Now, the Police Professional Standards Bureau is going to be investigating the conduct of their own. There's always been that issue of whether or not the police should be the ones investigating their own when incidents like this happen. But the first point of investigation is going to be done by the PPSB of the Ghana Police Service itself. Would you expect that beyond this, some external investigation is conducted at least so that the residents themselves would also have some level of satisfaction?
Definitely, I agree with you. And then we've had these discussions over and over again. The point has to be stressed that for the police as a service organization, they are much interested in the conduct of their officers and the integrity of what they do. And officers have responsibility to discharge their duties in line with the professional guidelines. When things such as this happen, the first point of call is to investigate it. And once investigations are done, it helps the police to have a review section as to what might have gone wrong, what necessitated what happened. And if officers are found culpable, the police have the power to discipline officers in line with the code of conduct. That do not take the right from families to sue the individual officers involved, and that do not also take the right from the state to prosecute the officers involved if they are found culpable as a result of the investigations. So the avenue for families to seek redress in court is still available. The avenue for the state itself to investigate and prosecute officers when they are found culpable is also available. Then the officers themselves know that as part of what they do, the best practice and the due diligence organization or unit within the Ghana Police Service is the PIP. And whatever happened within, that level of investigation at the first point of contact will be carried out. And so I think the three angles are always available, but this is the best the police does, and to be able to ascertain what really happened and to authenticate whatever narrations might be coming from the field.
See, and maybe finally, before I let you go, especially because the residents have already started protesting. When we're just seeing on the screen, we put on the screen right now, the protest of the residents. They're burning car ties. They hit the streets today, demanding that there must be investigations. So this external investigation call, the residents have started making it already. All right, that they in fact make statements allegedly implicating the police personnel themselves. Mr. Kumado, you heard that. They are alleging that the police personnel themselves are, are complicit in the same, crime that they are coming to fight, allegedly, though. So, taking into consideration all of these issues, how do you expect the coming days to look like regarding the process that the investigation will take?
I expect the IGP, because they have directed the Western Regional Bloc to also investigate, I expect the investigations to be done as quickly as possible, because response is key as part of measuring the effectiveness of the Ghana Police Service. I have so much confidence in the Police Management Board and the IGP that they will do the right thing. The BNI can also investigate whatever happened on the side of what the police should do. But then it's also important to stress the point that in the 21st century, effectiveness of law enforcement officers would demand that best practices are applied. And one of the best practices is that when officers has been entangled in such issues, they are investigated and proper actions are taken as quickly as possible. Then again, it's also important that police officers in the front line adhere to standard procedures. Professionalism cannot be overlooked. Best practices cannot be overlooked, because accountability will come calling. And once you are found culpable, the ramifications could be huge. And I don't want to believe that because they have been interdicted, that will be the first line, that will be the end. If they are found culpable, the police have other processes in place to prosecute them. The state can prosecute them, and the families can also seek redress against individual officers. And the very things they have been alleged doing, I think it should be a wake-up call to all law enforcement officers in the front lines in particular, because some of these allegations could be damaging if it is found out that they are true. But at this stage, they remain allegations. Let the police investigate. The BNI can investigate so that families can have closure to whatever has happened to them. But then what is also important in this particular case is that guns has been shot. People are pronounced dead and others are injured. That would be one of the centers of the investigations, to find out what necessitated the gunshots and whether it came from the police in the first place, and whether that is the best option in a means of whatever they face, whether there was a mob or there was a gathering of some sort that the police felt threatened. So these are all the parameters we'll be looking at, and it to be applied accordingly to everybody within the space, which led to the death of the people we are talking about.
Mr. Komado, I appreciate you as always. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Richard Komado is a former Bureau of National Investigations, BNI operative and security consultant, joining us with his thoughts on this development there in the Western North region. It's one that we're keeping an eye on quite closely. We'll visit the community again tomorrow to update you on what's happening there regarding the 3 injured persons. But this is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, Minister for the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has revealed at least 1,300 applicants into the security agencies or the services were disqualified after testing positive for HIV and the use of illicit drugs. Some 6,000 of them as well disqualified in that regard. But this is what came up earlier today, and this particular issue had been reported some time ago, but there's some official confirmation to it that the Minister for the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has revealed that about 1,300 applicants in the recent security services recruitment exercise tested positive for the human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV, during a mandatory medical screening. At an assurance committee hearing earlier, he said the medical examination was part of the standard recruitment process to assess the health and fitness of applicants before enlistment into the security services, indicating that the applicants were not actually communicated to directly on the reasons for their disqualification on the grounds of they testing positive for HIV. To avoid the shock, they didn't tell them. However, he noted that the designated contacts were given to do follow-ups to ensure that the communication to these persons about their HIV status is done in a way that would also ensure that they take it and then they take counseling and then they're taken care of in the coming days. But this is what Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak said regarding these 1,300 people or applicants who were disqualified for testing positive for HIV.
As a member of parliament, you get people coming to you saying that, oh, I didn't go through and I didn't know why I was rejected, I don't know why, and they keep chasing for you to do something about it. So were they actually told that because of this reason, you are not going through and then you better go and change your life or something? Thank you.
Well, we in fact, I remember he's here when we were discussing the argument. Let's send them the results. And then I remember, the recent recruitment, we had, I think, about 1,300 or so that were on HIV. And then they said, can you imagine sending somebody a results, they're telling the person that you have HIV? That's not the procedure. The person has to go through some orientation. So one of the things that we did was simply to say that when you get disqualified, you are given a contact to reach out if you are interested in knowing the details. Then when you call, then they assist you to let you know. Because interestingly, some of the things that we realize are treatable. So people need to know and then also get treatment so that subsequent recruitment they could join. So you need to know it's of interest for every person that got disqualified to be interested in knowing what was the cause, so that at least you'll be able to, those that you can treat, hepatitis B, if you have cardiac issues, maybe you've had some major surgery, drug, mental, and all that. A lot of it, some of them, I believe, you would help you be able to get out of it, especially those who had mental issues. People may not even know that they are having mental issues. But these are things that are easily treatable. So we encourage everybody to try and reach out. Don't just say because you've been discovered, you are no longer interested. Be interested, because it may be something minor, it may be something major, whichever it is. If you get to know, it will be of great interest to them. But the reason why we didn't send the results directly was that we don't want the shock. Even based on the WHO guideline, there are certain ailments, you just don't throw it on the person's face that, oh, you have hepatitis B, you have HIV, you have that. So that was why we didn't send the results directly.
Oh, so that's the Minister for the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, there, giving details of this 1,300 of the applicants into the police, immigration, fire service, prisons. These are the security agencies that falls under his ministry or that's within his jurisdiction. And so the applicants, you recall, 105,000 applicants qualified for the medicals, but at the time we could just recruit 5,000 out of the 105,000. So these 105,000 that qualified for the medicals, we're talking about this 1,300 of them that tested positive for HIV. They're dealing with that. And then also we understand some 6,000 tested positive for the use of illicit drugs as well. That also led to their disqualification. Out of that, we know that for instance, there's a situation with our labor force. Unfortunately, as a result, a number of young people wanted to get into the security agencies, but because of the opening, we could only deal with just about 5,000. And if you look at the breakdown of the 2 million unemployment that we're talking about, 15 to 35 years, that age bracket accounts for a chunk of the 2 million unemployed persons in Ghana. That's about 1.5 million and over. So a total applicants into the Ghana Police Service, 130,000. They just had some 3,000 slots available. And then for the Immigration Service, 180,000 applicants, just about 1,000 slots were available at the time of this process taking place earlier in the year. And the Fire Service, 124,000 applicants, just about the fraction of that was the slots available. For the Prison Service, 500 slots available, but some 71,000 applicants as well in that regard. So this is how the picture looks like. But here's where I bring in Dr. Victor Doke. He is a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center and also a security consultant. Dr. Victor Doke, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First off, I want to find out from you. You have come close contact with how this process works regarding recruitment into security agencies. Hearing that you have some 1,300 applicants that tested positive for HIV, let's start off from there. How concerning is this?
Okay, so the situation is very worrying because you look at the number of people who have tested positive for the HIV wanting to get into the security service. So it means that if the robust screening had not gone through, you can imagine. So previously, where we didn't have this kind of advanced medical screenings, you can just imagine what kind of sicknesses had gone through. But with this invent of new technology of testing for drugs and whatever diseases in the bloodstream, the situation is worrying. At the same time, it means that we have an antidote or a solution to look at what comes into the security system as personnel or aspiring personnel or recruits coming into the domain. And it also means that the youth have become more promiscuous than before. It means people are not very careful of their ways and how they relate to activities such as promiscuity. And it translates, if you want to look at the moral decadence or moral decayiness of our societies, that anything goes. It's a norm, to be promiscuous at any point in time without, considering the consequences. I bet many of these recruits didn't have any idea as to that the advanced technology would detect some of these things. And some of them didn't even think, because I spoke to some of them, they didn't even think that we're going to go that far to test for HIV and all of that. But this is the case, because if you want to go into the security services, then it means that you have to have a clean record. A clean record, also means your health is very apt. You don't want a situation whereby you're taking medication for such illnesses, and then you go for training, and then you collapse, or any kind of issues happen. You lead to victimization and all of those things. It has a lot of implications and consequences. So better they don't even enter, take care of their health. Then the message overall is for we the youth. It is not as if you own your life. There are consequences to whatever you do. So responsible living is the key.
I see. But there's another point as well that this particular development also comes with. In fact, earlier during that same hearing at the committee, the former defense minister, that's Dominic Nitiwo, did indicate that while he was in office as minister, during the recruitment into the Ghana Armed Forces as well, under him, they had such cases as well, but not on an expanded scale as we're having it now. So there is some trend to it with what has happened or what we're getting to know today. Doc.
Right. Because of the level of applicants, the potential applicants and recruits that want to go into the system. So obviously time has passed, so you would have the level, numbers increasing than before. So it was expected. So if you are to look at the data next year, or even within this year, if there's any recruitment and the tests are conducted, you would also, be very sure to get an increment, unless people do not go, and pick up forms, because probably they have done their tests and then know their, position with regards to whether they have ailments or not. And so all of these things would have to be put in place. So definitely we'll have increments in numbers, because every year in and out, we are churning out graduates from the various universities, the public and the private ones. All of these are coming to add up to the existing numbers already in the system. And those who are not over age would have an opportunity to pick up forms again. And so you have double numbers in there. So you would have increment in all of these, diseases and whatnot with regards to the screening.
I say it's not just a matter of the applicants who tested positive for HIV. There is also another group, some 6,000 applicants who also tested positive for the use of illicit drugs as well, who wanted to get into these police, immigration, fire service, prisons. And these are applicants who tested positive for illicit drugs. And so that was the basis for their disqualification as well. I mean, imagine if they found themselves into the services or they just slipped through without notice. We would have a lot to deal with on our hands, is it not?
Well, it's also the fact that when you look at our communities and societies now, whatever we used to think are not good for, the youth have become a norm. The use of drugs, to hype ourselves, use of drugs for activities that are very strenuous and all of that, use of drugs for various reasons. And people now have, taken these illicit drugs as something that is normal, that they live by, in such that in a day, if somebody doesn't get, these illicit drugs, they cannot function. And so all of these things begs to the question as to whether we as a society, have we really, agencies, organizations, as a state, have we really helped the situation with regards to looking at how we can block all these inflows of illicit drugs and how the youths are reaching these drugs unchecked. It's a worry, We are looking at those who want to go in and how they have been detected in their bloodstream. What about some of us who are already in, How about if we should conduct the tests for those who are in the system right now, Alfred? I'm sure we are going to see and get some results. So it is how we have to block the system, block these loopholes of how these drugs come in. I know efforts are being made, but we need to, broaden the efforts wide. The usage of these illicit drugs by the youth have become something that it's going unchecked. Now, there's nobody or no system, no structure in place to ensure education, sensitization with regards to the dangers of these illicit drugs. Before, when we were watching television and all of that, we could see, sensitizations on the television about the use of drugs, which is not good, and all of those cartoons and all of that. But today, how many of our media houses even project, the adverse effects of drugs through their programs? When was the last time we had a conference on youth with regards to illicit drugs and all of that? We are all complicit. The civil society organizations, researchers, think tanks, or whatever state, we are complicit in this. It is very unfortunate, because it's very sad that people who just want to have a living, and then due to issues about drug use and some ailments, you are not being able to get into the system. That also tells us that we need to live responsibly henceforth.
Absolutely, and I thank you very much. Dr. Victor Doke is a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, security analyst as well. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, after this quick break, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, is warning of an emerging model kill criminal network driving trafficking and financial fraud across West Africa. Stay with us. We have a conversation on this matter with the senior legal officer and prosecutor at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, Yoko Sedina. Beve is going to be joining us after this quick break. Stay with us.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Samacha Sapapadia to a mammy mouthful.
I mean, a group that was operating in the name of the legitimate QNet, actually using that to, as it were, deceive people and traffic them into other countries. And well, this model Q, IOCO is warning that it represents, and we're going to put that on the screen right now, a dangerous evolution in human trafficking, migrant smuggling, and financial fraud across West and Central Africa. And want to find out if they've started operating in Ghana and whether persons are falling victim to this particular model Q. And how different is this from the QNet, fake QNet that we know, right? And then it says that this is the modus operandi. There's a criminal syndicate. They are increasingly exploiting technology, social media, and financing systems to lure vulnerable people into modern day slavery and organized fraud. That this is what this model Q is all about. But we need to get some detail, especially for you, the members of the general public, and you, our viewers who are watching it tonight, to also be on the lookout. And fortunately, we have a senior legal officer and prosecutor at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, Sedina Beve, joining us on Zoom right now. Sedina, appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, when did the Economic and Organized Crime Office get wind of this model Q, and are they operating in Ghana?
Thank you, Alfred, for having me. So the activities of Model Q has been around for some time, and it peaked last year when we had a lot of reports from people and other African countries that people are being trafficked into Ghana and outside Ghana and lured into doing various activities. So this came into our attention, and we started monitoring, and we realized that it was connected to QNet. So we went further to engage QNet. That is when we realized that it was not QNet that was perpetrating this crime, but it was people who were using the name of the company to traffic human beings. So as at last year, we had a memorandum of understanding with QNet so as to be able to combat this crime. So we've been monitoring these activities for some time. And last year, there was a regional conference in Abidjan by Interpol on human trafficking. And that is where West Africa and Central Africa realized that this model has been far advanced in this country, and then it needed a regional coordination to be able to combat this model Q. So it's on that basis that IOCO hosted African countries for a regional coordination and case resolution workshop on combating human trafficking and migrant smuggling, specifically on model Q, modus operandi.
See, on that point that you ended on, you describe this, and Sedina, if you could sit back a bit for me, I'll be glad, so we have your full scale. But you describe this as a sophisticated transnational criminal network, which represents a dangerous evolution in human trafficking, migrant smuggling, and financial fraud across West and Central Africa. Let's get a bit more into that. When it comes to the modus operandi of this model Q, how different is it from the QNet as we've known?
So, under the model Q, most criminals, or all the criminals who are under the model Q, you disguise themselves as giving legal opportunities to people. They target young adults from vulnerable backgrounds through online platforms, including social media, messaging apps, fake employment portals, and scholarship or investment websites. They pose as consultants, international recruiters, or successful entrepreneurs, promising foreign employment, training, or financial gains via multi-level marketing schemes. Victims are required to pay initial fees for sometimes visa processing, sometimes training via mobile money or informal transactions. Where these individuals believe that it is something they are legitimate they are going to do. For example, someone is told that there's a job in another country, and based on that, you have to pay some processing fee to enable them secure you all your travel documentations. So they make that payment. When you get to your destination, it will not be the job that they promised you. That's when they traffic the people. They force them to do various activities. And during this time, we have discovered that they will usually force people into online scam. They exploit women and force them to have unconsensual sex with other men, and they receive payment for that. One of the cases that we have seen is a man coming from another African country, coming into Ghana and then marrying a Ghanaian woman, and they relocate into his home country. And we realize that he comes in to marry, go to his country, and he comes in again. And at a point, law enforcement got to know when he was marrying the fourth woman. That is when law enforcement received a tip-off. And when investigations went in, we realized that he was forcing the women to have sexual intercourse with other men whilst he was collecting money.
Collecting the money, more like a pimp, sort of. But then it means that, so getting to know the details of how this model kill works, how different is it from the modus operandi that the fake KillNet was using or had employed to also lure unsuspecting individuals?
So the mode, KillNet operates in a marketing level where they need to talk to people to buy their products, and if you refer the product to other people, then those people, the person who referred will get a commission. So it's based on this. People register with KillNet, and they come under the umbrella that we are training salespersons to go out there and sell our products. So that is how it started, that some of these people are legitimately registered with KillNet, but the way they are doing the training of people as salespersons, that is what KillNet is not involved. But some of them too are no longer with KillNet, but they are still using this mode of trafficking people and under the name of KillNet. So KillNet is a legitimate company that is working worldwide. But when it comes to Central and West Africa, they are just taking advantage of the way KillNet operates to traffic human beings.
I see. And because of the high, you have unemployment, you have a lot of young people who are not employed, they will definitely fall victim to these scams. So how is EOCO, your office, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, also helping in terms of the mechanisms you put in place, sensitization, so that the people who are watching us, the public, will be on the lookout not to fall victim to this model kill?
So we realized that one of the things we started with is the MOU we had with KillNet, so that we can educate the public. About 2 months ago, we were in Ashanti region where we did a massive awareness on the Model Q. We moved from radio stations. We spoke to students. We spoke to a lot of people on the modus operandi of Model Q, and we have valuable feedback. But there's also the issue of not only in Ghana. We have this issue, Model Q has extended to other African countries. So one of the things we are doing is hosting this workshop, which has brought over 16 African countries together who have also experienced the Model Q, modus operandi, and the objective of this workshop is to identify networks operating under the Model Q and to establish a formal and informal regional referral network for sharing best practice and also giving intelligence to each other. Because we realize that when some of the criminals are trafficking people, they traffic them into other African countries. And if we do not come together as a regional body, we will not be able to combat this human trafficking. So this is what YOCO is doing, and hopefully we are getting a lot of results.
Appreciate you, Sedina. Thank you so much for this. Sedina Beve is legal officer, prosecutor at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, giving us details of this Model Q, operating the same models as the QNet, the fake QNet as we've known it. And they also put out a release that you can go onto the YOCO website for some more details on it. And for you as a member of the general public as well, if you get wind of the operations of this particular Model Q, you can reach YOCO. You can go to their website for the contact and also how to get to them. But there's more of this you can find on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Join the New Day team tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. Also, tune into 3FM 92.7. Join the Sunrise team there as well. And on behalf of the rest of the team here on Ghana Tonight, thank you for staying with us. I'm Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil. Kumin Tuntum Perkun.